welcome back to Living Local. According to longtermcare.gov, someone turning 65 today has almost a 70% chance of needing some type of long-term care. Now, the average cost of nursing home care can put a massive financial burden on a family, but there are steps you can take to minimize the strain. Here to tell us more about that is Naomi Ballard with GolderCare Solutions. Naomi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So, what are some common issues and emotions that people have when they come to GolderCare and they're faced with financing long-term care?
Yeah, overwhelmed for sure. Whether it's a child worrying about how to pay for their parent, they didn't foresee that coming or having to make those decisions, or perhaps a spouse that is worried about paying for their ill spouse's care. It's so much worry, so much stress. Not only are you worried about the health aspects, but then you put the financial burden on it. So it's hard to really wrap your head around what to do next, or even where to start, where to get the care you need, and then how to afford it. So definitely we see people always worried, always stressed, don't know where to start.
Right, it certainly can be a very overwhelming situation, but thankfully there is education out there, there are resources available. The important thing is to just know that they are available so you can take advantage. So, and that's a problem, is people don't take advantage because they just don't know that they're available. So today we're going to highlight what is actually available out there and who is, can benefit from those. So let's first talk about Medicare and maybe some misconceptions surrounding what Medicare actually is.
Yeah, we talk about Medicare and Medicaid a lot at GolderCare, but let's throw in more care.
More care.
It's important though. But Medicare is what everybody gets when they're 65, or perhaps when they're younger if they have a disability. But it's health coverage that makes you better. The biggest misconception, and we hear this every single day, is they're surprised that Medicare does not cover long-term care. Once you are not getting better and you are in an assisted living or a nursing home, that you are just not getting better.
Right.
That is when Medicare is not going to continue to pay for that care. It's a whole different realm of coverage when you are hitting the nursing home. So,
right.
yeah.
So Medicare would maybe be for, if someone has the flu or something, they need to go to the doctor and get some medication to feel better, or anything like that.
Maybe rehab from a hip.
Okay.
Or, but once you're not getting better and you have reached a point where you're not going to be able to go home and be independent anymore, is when Medicare is not going to cover it.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Medicare, Medicaid, it can be a little confusing.
Sure.
So now let's shift gears to Medicaid, and how is that different than Medicare?
So Medicaid is an entitlement program. It's federally funded but regulated by each state individually. So if you're in Iowa, Iowa Medicaid. If you're in Illinois, Illinois Medicaid.
Right.
So it could be different sets of rules, but pretty similar. But you do have to qualify for Medicaid based on income and assets, and then also the care you need. So many people get Medicaid when they are going into a nursing home. Long-term care Medicaid is what people often use when they are unable to pay for that care themselves.
Now, what kind of planning and professional guidance is needed to get those benefits with Medicaid?
It's not easy, and that's why a lot of people do come to us. There are lots of papers to gather, lots of information to submit when you are looking to get approved for Medicaid. Now, to us, it's pretty easy. It's kind of like cleaning your teeth is easy to your dentist.
Right.
Doing your hair is easy to your hairdresser. Medicaid is easy to GolderCare, but it's not easy for the average person. We're not saying people can't do it, but they do look back 5 years of all financial decisions, and most people think it doesn't apply to them. But the truth is 67% of nursing home residents do rely on Medicaid to pay for their care. All Quad City nursing homes do take Medicaid. Not all of their beds do, but some of each nursing home does take Medicaid. And it can be a huge alleviation for stress, especially if you're a spouse at home and looking to pay your bills at home as well. So it's just when you're looking at upwards of $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month for this care for your loved one, you don't want money to be part of your added stress and burden. But you have to figure out how to manage your own life and not be stressed out by the financial end, especially when it comes to healthcare and making sure they get the care they need.
Right. So now that we've clarified Medicare, you're getting better, and then Medicaid, let's talk about a few other factors that can be at play for people. Let's talk about long-term care insurance, what that is and how people can utilize it.
Yeah, long-term care insurance, if you have it, is great. We're finding more and more it's less common. It's hard to attain. It's hard to retain. Premium prices are skyrocketing, and so more people are not able to afford it, but it will cover that care you might need that your regular health care or Medicare is not going to cover, especially when you get into a nursing home or assisted living. But we do find, I think I've said this in the segment before, that people are dropping their policies that they may have been paying on for years because the premiums have gotten so high. And our biggest suggestion to people is if you have long-term care insurance and you're thinking about dropping your policy, before you do that, talk to your agent. Make sure that there's not a secondary option, maybe to cut back on the coverage. Some coverage is better than none. And so if you can keep that policy in hand for when you do need it, it might feel like you don't, but chances are you will, and you will be glad that you kept it.
That is so important to know. Also, being here in the Quad Cities, we have the Rock Island Arsenal. A lot of military people are in our community. So why is asking about veteran status so important when people are facing this issue of paying for long-term care?
Veteran status is the first thing we ask because it's often a benefit left on the table. People don't realize they're eligible, especially surviving spouses. There are a lot of veterans that have passed, but they might have left a surviving spouse, and that spouse or even that veteran, there's the VA aid and attendance program that will cover care when you do reach that long-term care need. Whether you're at home or in assisted living or nursing home, you can get from $1,200 to $3,000 a month just to help pay for that cost of care. There's some criteria that you have to meet. Different war times qualify. You have to have a need for the care, but really it's a benefit that many people do not realize that they are entitled to.
That is so great to know. Now, you guys are having an educational event coming up where people get more insight and guidance on these topics. So what are the details with that event?
Yeah, we have a couple events coming up in the next week. The title is Paying for the Nursing Home, and we're getting a lot of response from it because it's so commonly worried about. People are living longer and they don't know how they're going to pay for this care. And so we'll talk about nursing home, assisted living, and care at home. We'll talk about Medicaid, Medicare, veterans benefits. So there's two events. The first one is this Thursday, October 24th at 6 p.m. And the second one is Monday, October 28th at 2 p.m. Both are held at KSI in Davenport. So a good location for aging people. People are really familiar with that facility, and so we're happy to bring that to their facility. Awesome.
Well, Naomi, thank you so much for all the information. Thanks. We appreciate it. You guys, if you would like some more information, you can visit GolderCare.com. We'll also have those details posted on our QuadCities.com. More Living Local returns after the break.